Hello everyone, John Eady back again with my second video, following up from the introduction to Windows 10 the other day. I'm hoping to just start to show you a little bit about Office 365 today and what that does. But before we say that, the message that I wanted to leave with everybody from the first video is not to be too worried or too frightened of the new operating system, Windows 10. It's a stable operating system. It's an operating system that's been around for quite some time. It just works and it's really easy to navigate. Now I appreciate that change for a lot of us is quite difficult, and when we come across that change, you know, it can throw things up in the air a little bit. And I appreciate that there is a fair amount of IT change for you guys right now, but let me assure you that if you do stick with it, and I'm sure you will, and just look at or just carry on and look at some of the videos that I've put online here to help you through, and also use people like Julie and myself to help you where you're struggling a little bit. I'm sure you'll start to realise the benefit of the change pretty soon on. Teething problems, I have to say, should be expected. There will be some, and I'll be working closely with you to try and overcome those as we go through the integration weekend, which is earmarked to be the 10th, 11th, 12th of November, and the first live date will be the 13th of November. So the first thing to say with Office 365, it's just an application, so it's a set of applications. It's got Excel, it's got Word, it's got PowerPoint, but it's also got something called SharePoint, and it's got something called OneDrive. Now some of you will be familiar with applications like Dropbox and Google Drive and a few other things besides. SharePoint and OneDrive are ways upon which we can share data amongst one another or amongst a few. That could be everybody within inside YourSanctuary, or it can just be a few people within inside YourSanctuary. It could even be people outside your organisation that share with some of that data. It's also got some other things like Skype, which I think we're all familiar with nowadays. That's integrated with inside SharePoint too. With inside Office 365 too. And there's a few other applications which we won't be using, but you'll see them around. Don't be concerned about it, it'll be fine. So by the time I finish the integration weekend, you'll log in to your local machine. When you log into your laptop or your PC, that will also log you into the Office 365 environment, which is up in the cloud. And it just basically means that you're not only logging into your local machine, you're also logging into Microsoft as well. Okay, and that means that any data that you store to your local drive, to your sanctuary area on your local machine, will be synchronized up to Microsoft. That's all it's going to do, and apart from that, it's just going to allow you to run certain applications a bit like Salesforce does. So you will have applications that are running here. So we've got Word, we've got OneNote, and we've got PowerPoint, and we've got Excel, and we will also have Outlook. Can't see it there. It is there, and I showed you in my previous. Yeah, it's there. So so the applications will be there. You can run those up, and they're fine. What you won't have, and what will be mildly confusing for you guys, I think, is that you're used to Drive S, Drive M, for some of you with inside YourSanctuary, Drive M being the management drive, and Drive H. Those drives are no longer, they don't exist anymore. The data does, and I'll be showing you in subsequent videos where that data resides. So don't panic about losing the data. It's just that those drive letters no longer exist. What does exist is something called a team site. Now the YourSanctuary team site here, and these are the documents that belong to that team site, is where all the data will be stored. Now at the moment all I've got is just one area of the system, the server, that I've copied and I'm using just for test purposes. Just so that I can just show you a few things around the system, but this here effectively is where all of the company documents will now be stored. All right, and you just browse through them. It's just a normal structure. It's normal directory structure, folder structure. files will exist within inside that environment as it would have done before. The only thing that you don't have is drive S or drive M. So a couple of things to note is that you will lose all of your desktop shortcuts, and I appreciate that may be for a wee while a little bit what's the word? Maybe annoying. I don't know. To some users, I hope not. But I'm going to show you how to reset up those desktop shortcuts. And show you how TeamSite or SharePoint and OneDrive will allow you to reset those up, and it's down to you to set those up how you want, because each user is going to have a different setup from one another. So let's say that I want to do a shortcut to a particular folder or file. So I want to go, here's in fact, let's go into annual report, let's go to April 2009, and let's look at there. There's, in fact, PDF there. So if I want to pop that as a shortcut desktop, if I right hand mouse click, all I've got to do is I've just got to send it to the desktop, create shortcut. Once I click that, it will create a shortcut. And I can open up that file, and it's opening up from wherever. Okay, pretty simple. Now if I delete that, I'm not deleting the file, I'm deleting the shortcut from my desktop. I hope that makes sense. So I won't be deleting this file, the data still exists, but I will be deleting the shortcut from my desktop. So if I go back in here, that file still exists. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's a shortcut to an individual file. You may wish to create a shortcut to a folder. Exactly the same thing. So this annual report is important to me. I want to send that to the desktop and create a shortcut. If I now close this File Explorer session down, there's my shortcut to that folder. If I double click that, there's the folder it opens up. So it's really simple to create those shortcuts, recreate those shortcuts on your desktop. Again, if I delete that shortcut, I'm not deleting the data still exists, I've just deleted the shortcut. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so that in essence, what you're going to have is on this is called a quick access bar. Ignore these messages that come up. This is called a quick access bar. You will see a YourSanctuary team site, and you will also see YourSanctuary OneDrive, and I'm going to do a video on that another time. So don't worry, OneDrive, not OneSite, I beg your pardon, OneDrive. Don't worry too much about that. But I will show you a video on that just to introduce you to OneDrive at some point in the future. Hopefully that makes sense. So not too much to go now. I'm just going to show you how to log in on the cloud. Now, what is the cloud? The cloud is just Microsoft storing everything to do with YourSanctuary, storing your applications and storing your documents and storing your folders for you. Okay. Now, what is happening is down here you will see this little blue cloud here, OneDrive YourSanctuary, and it's downloading, and you'll see this little blue arrow that is just spinning around. You probably can't see it spinning around because the video is a little bit disjointed, but that just means I'm syncing everything from up in the cloud at Microsoft down to my local machine. What you'll normally find is that will just be a blue cloud which will tell you that everything's in sync. Okay, that will become a lot easier as time goes on. What I wanted to just can't remember what I was going to say now, is I'm going to show you yeah, okay, that's it. So we're running application on a local desktop, but you can run these applications from the cloud anywhere, from any machine, running, even if that's a Macintosh, running or that's capable of connecting to the internet. Now the way that you do that is you effectively, I'm just going to close that down for a second, I'm going to reopen up I'm using Google Chrome, you might use Internet Explorer. So once I go in there, all I need to do from anywhere within, go to a Google site and just type in Office 365 login. Once I've got that, the top hit typically will be that login to Microsoft. I'm logging in as Fiamma. Please ignore this on Microsoft bit. That will change in due course. That will just be fiamma.patha@yoursanctuary.org.uk. You will use your network password, which I will give to you, and you may change, so you'll need to remember that. Once you've done that, just click sign in, Okay, and then something will go wrong. We can try it again, and if that fails, I think what's happening is Office 365, because I'm syncing all of this information here, I think it's just got its knickers in a bit of a twist. So if you don't mind, so we're just going to close that down. This won't happen with you, I promise. Sanctuary, sign in, and it will go through now. I know it will. Yeah, it's looking a lot better now. So sorry about that. So you'll get these various different applications that come up. Mail is Outlook, OneDrive we spoke about, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. These applications you can run all from your browser now. So if I want to create a new document, it will run it up, and it's running it from the browser. So it's not running it from the machine that I'm working on. It's running it from the web. Alright, I hope that makes sense and that's clear, but you'll see it looks slightly different, and you'll see that I've got my browser bar up here. It's because we're running that application in the cloud, as opposed to if I went and open up Word here, just take a few seconds, but that's running a copy of Word from my local machine. Alright, so it looks slightly different. I've got the browser here on the web cloud version, and I don't have the browser bar there. So let's just close that down for a sec, and I can just type away, etc. Right? Sorry, change that, and I can't spell. Right? Okay. So and it's just exactly the same. If I want to save that, I'll save it as a copy. Where do I want to? I'll call it John delete. And then that document is now saved up in the web, all right, up in the cloud with Microsoft. I've got Excel exactly the same, PowerPoint. OneNote is just for meeting notes really. SharePoint we spoke about a little bit earlier. Don't worry about Teams, Yammer, Dynamics, Flow, Admin you won't see as a user. People, again, that's just a reference to the people within inside our environment. But essentially I can log on to SharePoint here, and with inside SharePoint I will see my team site when it gets there, and you'll see that it's there. Whoops, close it down, I hit that twice. My internet's running a little bit slow because of issues to do. I'm just syncing everything from that share as well to my local machine. I've just clicked on documents on the left hand side, and we'll see that shared documents area, and there's all the documents that I've got there. Alright, so that's working purely from the web and not my local machine. All I'm using on that local machine is my browser, which happens to be Google Chrome. Could be Internet Explorer, could be Safari, could be anything. So that's kind of all I want to show you for now, for the first introduction to Office 365. As I say, this is just syncing here at the moment, and so you can see it's downloading 1.8 gig of 7 gig. So quite a lot of data is going to come down there. That will all be done the weekend that I'm working to get you all onto Office 365, which is the 10th through to the 12th, and it'll be first live date is the 13th. I hope that makes sense. Again, I'm available if anybody would like to talk to me, discuss how things are going to work with 365. I'm quite happy to talk anything through with you all. Anyway, that's it for now. I hope that's okay, and you'll see me around the office or back with another vid. Thanks, cheers, bye.